We recently just had a client move down here from the West Coast, and he let us know that we did everything on point, but there was one thing we failed to do. And in today's video, we're going to be going over things you shouldn't do when it comes down to moving to Albuquerque. So grab your pen and your pad and let's get into today's video. I hope this is the last time that I do this. Is what we hear from a ton of people that are looking to relocate to Albuquerque, and it's because it's stressful. Moving to a whole nother state and moving in general is a lot. It's a lot to pre-plan, figure out if it's even the right fit for you, and to just do all the research. It gets stressful, and I'm here to tell you guys that we want to make that super easy and super digestible for you guys with giving you as much videos as we do throughout the week. Today's video, we really want to go over a few key points that our buyers just recently had questions about, that we felt like, man, we really should touch on those things when it comes down to moving to Albuquerque. And I got to remind you guys that if this is your first time tuning in to the Living in Albuquerque channel, welcome. My name is Eli. If you do yourself and us a huge favor and hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom, that way you never miss out on any videos that we are dropping every week talking about what this beautiful city of Albuquerque and surrounding areas have to offer. And as much as we love doing these videos, guys, we would love to also help you out with your real estate needs, because we are licensed brokers here in the state of New Mexico, and we'd love to make that move super easy and possible for you guys, especially if you are planning on moving down here this year or within the next couple of months. And that number popping up on the screen is my direct line, and I am the one that answers all the calls, texts, and emails, and I'd love to be able to help you out in any way possible. The biggest thing that I can give to you guys, and number one up on this list of things that you shouldn't do, is believe all the hype, right? Do the research for yourself, because everything that you're going to see, especially online, is going to be 50-50. And I'll just be honest with you, Albuquerque is more good than bad. And that has a lot to say. And when I tell people about Albuquerque, they really try to grasp the idea that this place still exists, that's a little bit more slowed down, a little bit more affordable, and really realistic in the sense of living life when it comes down to it. Because some bigger cities like New York, even places out in Idaho like Boise, they are super fast paced and super ahead, that it almost feels unrealistic when you are living through that day-to-day thing, and it's just overwhelming in a sense. But here in Albuquerque, to be honest with you, it is a little bit slower. The land of Mañana, I've said it many times in our videos, reigns supreme here. So really doing the research and really getting a feel for yourself of our unique culture, everything that it has in terms to offer as a city as far as amenities goes, travel, all that stuff is going to be important to experience firsthand. What I highly recommend is that you take a trip down here, because you'll be surprised. And I let people know Albuquerque is an experience. It's not something that I can write down on a piece of paper or tell you through video that will give you the full sense of what we have to offer. So plan a trip, really get the full experience, and don't believe everything that you read. Have you ever been catfished by a house? I have, plenty of times, with a ton of different buyers. And it's usually a good thing that you put boots on the ground and go take a look at a house, and you don't pick the first thing that you see, especially in pictures, guys, because there's a lot of things that you're not going to get when you are looking at homes through Zillow or even through the custom home searches that we create for you on that Zoom call that we get on. And if you want to get on that Zoom call and create a custom home search, guys, again, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to reach out at any time. In terms of homes that are being offered here in Albuquerque, it's not just going to be that Pueblo style house. And believe it or not, those are pretty hard to find nowadays, because they became a lot more popular, and a lot more outsiders are purchasing these homes because they understand the unique value that it brings to the area, because they're not getting those anywhere else, like in Chicago, New York, even down in the West Coast. You're not seeing this style of house. But what's unique about Albuquerque is that every other style of house, you are seeing it here. Ranch style houses, Victorian style houses, you got the regular mid-century moderns. Like, the more popular style of houses that you've seen all across the United States, they are here in Albuquerque, and not so hard to find. We even have some like Dutch style cottages here, which is super unique. And I don't know if it was just with the diverse melting pot of cultures coming here throughout the years and really bringing in their culture and their taste of, structural style and architecture that really made Albuquerque what it is. And it's awesome to see. From one point in Barelas, you'll see homes that are, real basic northern New Mexico homes, which is actually a style down here, believe it or not. And then you see a Victorian style house. Like, it's super awesome to just see how artistic the vibe is in some of these neighborhoods that you would have never even expected. Again, why I highly recommend taking a trip down here, really putting boots on the ground with me and my team. That way we can take a look at some of these houses, and that way you can get a feel for the vibe in these areas. Yo, I don't know who needs to hear this, but don't move without making a plan first. And as much as we believe that we got it all together, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we are just so in the thick of it that we're kind of blindsided to everything else that's going on. And that's when somebody can step in who is a professional, I'm not going to say any names, and they can really help you just structure everything to go according to plan, right? Whether it's your timelines, whether you need contractors, whether you need resources, whether you need movers, whatever it is. A well-established person that is in the real estate business, who is a local, who's lived here for 30 plus years, can really help you make sure that this move down to Albuquerque is a lot less stressful than you would expect it to be. Now, trust me, I moved across the United States and put my trust in people who've never lived in these areas, and it was a little bit stressful at first, but really having somebody to lean on took a ton of pressure off of me as far as things that I knew that I needed to get done, like making sure that I got to where I needed to be in New York on time, making sure that, I had all my documents signed up, whatever it is. Leaning on somebody else who is a little bit more experienced in the realm of moving can make this way easier for you guys. And whether it's a broker, whether it's a family member or a friend who lives here locally, I highly recommend that you reach out to them to be able to figure out what the best case scenario is when it comes to moving and how you can structure something to work in your benefit. Because we want to make sure as brokers that, number one, your deal runs smoothly and that you're not going to be scrambling to find a place, a few days in while you close on your house. We want to make sure that you move down here, and on that day, you're able to move into the house, unpack your stuff, and just, move on and put this moving thing behind you. We want to make it super easy and pain-free as possible, especially with the abundance of resources that we have. Have you ever been in an area, in any city, maybe it's a city that you're living in now, and it just doesn't feel right? It doesn't feel like you belong there. I don't want you to ever feel that way when you do move to Albuquerque. And the biggest thing that I can recommend to you is, of course, taking that trip down here, getting to know some of these areas. Really ask yourself, what is important to you? Is it going to be medical care? Is it going to be travel to work? How close do you want to live to work? How far away do you want to live from work? You are also going to want to put into play, price points and your lifestyle. What type of lifestyle are you living? Do you love to be outdoors? Do you love to have nature walks and trails, 5 to 10 minutes away from you or just around the corner? Do you love a certain aspect of an area that is a little bit more slower pace? Or do you want to live within, all the fun and amenities? Like, what is it? And if you don't take that trip down here, and I know I keep saying this because it's super important, Albuquerque is an experience, guys. I really can't, sell you on that as much as I am today, because it's true. When you are moving down here, you are going to start to realize that the town is a little bit segregated. There is some areas that are a little bit more suburban and residential, and it is going to have, that family-friendly vibe with parks, your grocery stores, and all that stuff available to you. And then there is going to be some parts where it's a little bit more ranchy. You're going to have, farms, equestrian lifestyle and all that. You are going to have bosque trails super close to you. And then, of course, the whole mountain living. And if you're okay with inclement weather, you don't mind it because you're moving from Chicago where you get tons of snow, then living next to the foothills in the Sandia Heights area isn't going to be a problem to you. But if some of these things are like, man, I really don't want to deal with snow, I really don't want to deal with horses and animals and all that stuff, and I just want to be super close to my doctors and the hospitals, then, we start talking about areas like Nob Hill, Uptown, and, the UNM area. Really getting to know Albuquerque is going to help you in terms of what's important to you, what things you need, and especially with things like even driving to work. If you're traveling to the east side early in the morning at 7 o'clock, you're going to hate it because number one, the sun's going to be directly in your face and you're going to be dealing with a ton of traffic. These are little things that you would have never expected that would be an annoyance to you when moving to a new city if I would have never even told you. So making sure that you put together everything that is important to you, right? Wants and needs, and some deal breakers to figure out what area is going to best fit your life is super huge, guys. All right, now we went over a few things that is very important. That is kind of the upfront things that you should think about when it comes to moving to a new area or new city. And this is really applicable to a whole lot of different things, but mainly we're talking about moving to Albuquerque because you're obviously watching this video because you're interested in moving here and you want to know some things that you should consider when you are planning on moving down here that you probably shouldn't be doing. Now, I'm not telling you anything crazy like things you shouldn't do about crime, things that you shouldn't be doing in some areas. Like, you're grown and you're adult enough if you are watching this video to understand the things that you shouldn't do when it comes in terms to the law. Like, I'm not here for that. What I'm here is to help you build a plan that is, structured correctly, that pertains to making a move easy and possible for you. So if that's something that you're interested in, again, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. And as much as I love giving you all the information on the things you shouldn't do, I would love to also walk you through some things you should do. And maybe we'll do a video on that in the future. But that number popping up on the screen, guys, is my direct line. Feel free to call or text at any time because I love to help. But I'm going to go and get back to work. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.